Hyper Peaches! Welcome to our 22nd episode. I'm Erica.
And I'm Joyce.
Hello, Joyce.
Hello.
How was it for you this week?
Well, this week kind of just started, but I would say so far, 7?
7 is not bad.
7 is not bad.
You know what? I think part of it has to do with your makeup today. It's quite on point.
Wow. When Erica compliments you, you know it's legit.
Yeah, I don't easily compliment people.
But you always compliment me, so
not really.
Thank you. I did put much more heavier makeup than I usually do on a Monday. So
to cure that Monday blues.
Yeah,
I think that works every time.
I think when you dress properly and then when you're more put together, you're more willing to deliver work. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, I can tackle this. Whereas like if you look like crap and if you like didn't put yourself together, it just feels very like you feel very sluggish and lazy. And
I think so.
Yeah, right.
Monday is the day where I wouldn't mind working like not from home, even though I don't really have a choice, because I just need to feel like I have that momentum.
You feel like a go-getter.
On.
Yeah, you
exactly.
Feel like, okay, how about you? How was your week so far?
It's alright. I'm a little busy this week, but just floating through. Hopefully we'll get to Friday soon.
I know.
And then I'll get to meet my girls.
Excited. So what would you rate? What number?
Oh, sorry, I totally forgot about the rating. It's a 6-ish.
No, it's a 7. No,
it's a 6.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean we're always at a 6 or 7. I feel like
that's true. I don't know. It's just Monday.
Yeah,
not much going on.
Really, not much going on. Not much emotions going on. Just very busy with life and.
But overall, okay. I mean, we had a pretty philosophical talk just now about
a philosophical dinner at Festival Walk.
Yes, and so that kind of brightens up my mood a little.
Yeah. And can you transition? I was gonna say it kind of transitions to our conversation tonight, right?
Yeah, a little. Well, there's no transition. Let's just get into the topic of today.
Agree.
Basically, it's about toxic relationships. Let me ask you this: have you ever been in one? Were you able to notice that it is one, and were you able to get out of it?
I think I didn't. When I was in it, I obviously didn't know it was a toxic relationship. Even actually when it was over, or even when I walked away from it, or it ended, I also didn't realize
it
was a toxic.
It kind of just ended.
It kind of just ended because it's not because of my realization that it was toxic. It was more like, oh, I was so hurt.
Okay.
And like it was like the pain, whatever. So it like kind of that's why it died.
See, you're always driven by emotions. Good or bad.
Yeah, always. And then now it's like when it's so far after so many years. And then the emotion kind of is like gone, and the situation is more blurry than before. I kind of put my more realistic sense to the whole kind of outlook of it. That's toxicity. I was like, oh yeah, that was the element. That was it, right? But before it was so driven by emotion that I would never. And I think I was so convinced that I tried to see the good in every person and that person, and I was in denial. We're gonna go more deep down in that, but now that I think about it, it is basically toxicity. So, how about you?
Well, first off, I'm glad at least you got out of it. Personally, I've been in some. Yeah. Like, work-wise, relationship-wise. Yeah. But we'll go deeper into it later. But I at least, like you said, I guess. Well, sorry. One thing different is that I think when I was in it, I was quite aware that it is toxic. But the most toxic part about it of all is that even though I was aware of it, I just couldn't get myself to walk away from it.
It wasn't convincing enough for yourself. to walk away.
I have the tendency to want to fix things, to want to be in there and want to overcome it.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, occasionally that's good mindset to have.
Occasionally.
But with the right people and
exactly.
with
when you apply it on a wrong thing, it's just wrong.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. So let me just give our listeners a little bit of a taste of what's spiraling in our mind. Basically, why we have come up with this topic. It's kind of originated from Marie Kondo. If you guys have paid attention to our Instagram post this year, we did post something that is a quote from Marie Kondo. And the quote is, just let me read you this. Discard the items that no longer spark joy. Thank them for their service, then let them go. So, if in case anyone who doesn't know, Marie Kondo, she's very famous for her trademarked KonMari method, which is essentially a method of organizing and tidying stuff.
Yeah. Decluttering your closet,
yes.
Decluttering your house,
and essentially decluttering your
life.
Yeah. But so the question boils down to, why would Marie Kondo kind of transition to our topic of toxic relationship?
Yes.
It also is preached by a book which is published by this other Japanese author. I forgot the name of it, but he is applying the KonMari method to the getting rid of toxic relationships with your parents. So what he's saying is that, because Marie Kondo is kind of teaching people how to get rid of the stuff that are not suitable for you, that does not suit you, are no longer good for your life, and cleanse your entire space and just cleansing your life. And so this other guy, this Japanese author, is saying that you should do the same, but on like parental values. Like we grew up in an Asian culture. We are always so obedient to our parents, and we're taught to respect them and just listen to them and apply their values to our own life. But if he's applying the Marie Kondo method, what he should be doing is ditch those values that do not really align with your own values.
Yes, doesn't resemble you as a person.
Exactly. Only keep those that you truly believe in. Do not keep them there just for the sake of keeping them.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
I think
it's a very interesting concept.
When you just said that, I don't know why this image of like me or someone like walking into a flower shop or going into a flower market, right? I don't know why. It's so random. But let me amaze you.
Okay.
There's just like an image that popped up when you just said it. I don't know why. So random. But anyways, so I imagine someone that's like in a flower shop, right? Or in a flower market. You see all these beautiful flowers, 100 types, different colors. Some are natural, some are dyed, like actually like dying colors, like fake flowers. And they all look really pretty, very generic. Some are a little more unique, some looks more down to earth. And then you kind of see people that are around you. Everybody is picking like 3 to 4 flowers. I mean, I don't know where this is coming from, but it's just like, and then you kind of like, I whenever I buy flowers, I kind of look around and I see whoever, like, what they buy, and that kind of says a lot about their personality traits and like what they like, what they don't like. And that's why when you said that, I was like, oh, it's kind of like Marie Kondo, like picking and choosing. Oh, this clothes serves me happiness, it serves me purpose, therefore I keep it. These no longer serve me anything in my life, I'm gonna get rid of it. So it's kind of like me, if I go into a flower shop, I'm like, oh, these don't really spark me joy, this type of flower doesn't really spark me joy, I'm not gonna purchase it, I'm gonna let other people have it, and I'm gonna pick the ones that stood out to me and that are like screaming for me, or I'm screaming for them. And I kind of pick it, right? There's kind of like a mutual energy towards it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like how I I don't know. I just envision it. It's very weird.
I get where you're coming from. It's
Isn't it true though?
That's actually true. I mean, basically, what we're trying to do in here, it all goes down to you're just keeping or picking, keeping the things that in life that are really important and serves a purpose in your life.
Exactly.
And get rid of those that don't.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds really straightforward. Sounds really easy to do, but I mean, it takes a lifetime to figure it out, right?
Easier said than done.
Really,
it's
for
always
sure.
like that.
For sure.
So yeah, going back to our topic, basically, we think that, I mean, see, your example comes from going into a flower shop.
Yeah.
And then my comes from, I don't know, Marie Kondo. So what we're trying to say is that this kind of like toxic relationship really just, it exists everywhere.
Yeah.
It exists in every part of your life.
Yes.
It could come from your friends, your family, your work,
culture happenings, everything.
Yeah.
We talked about it, right? We kind of briefly talked about it, that toxicity can come from any shape or form. It is, you can't smell it, you can't touch it, it's not visible.
Yeah.
AKA like COVID.
AKA COVID.
And it's like, you can't really dodge it. Both COVID and toxicity, you can't dodge it, but it's more like how you can identify it, and you can only choose yourself how do you deal with this thing, right?
Yes.
And yes, is a negative impact, but if it's never gonna go away in your life because it's in every aspect of your life, then how do you deal with it? It's a learning process, right?
Yeah. It's up to you to maintain a distance,
for sure,
from it.
So philosophical.
Very philosophical. I mean, after today, I think we're just touching the surface of it.
Really?
But I think it's important to address it.
Yeah, I think
because
so
a lot
too.
of people are going through it without or with notice of it. But what you really want to learn here is how do you deal with it?
Yeah, really realistically identify it.
Yeah.
And then try to overcome it in whatever way you think it's helpful for yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. So what do you think, how do you pinpoint toxicity? Like, in your own words or in your experience, like how do you define it?
Yeah. So I mean, this word is self-explanatory in a sense that toxic, meaning it's very poisonous.
Yeah.
And it's harmful to your being, both mental and physical. And this important feature, this
Factor.
very interesting feature of it is come from an article that I read, is denoting or relating to a debt that has a high risk of default, is what the article suggests of what mean by toxic. So let me explain that, because it sounds a little financial.
Yeah.
I mean, debt and default, what are you talking about? But it basically, it's saying that because toxic relationship or toxic person per se, it's the kind of person that in your life that might be reminding you that they make you invest and they drain you, but without any promise of return. So in that sense, it is a kind of debt that basically would renders a very high risk of default in payment. Yeah,
interesting. Like they kind of, these kind of people make you kind of try to sell you something that is not feasible, that is not even there, that is unrealistic,
or they're trying to sell you, like they're selling you an A+ product, but they're only giving you like a D or E.
Interesting.
Or
okay.
Nothing at all.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds a little too financial, actually, a little too technical. If we put it in a simpler terms, it basically means a toxic person means someone who causes distress in others through negative words or actions.
Manipulation, harmful
Basically.
actions,
Yes.
perceiving their own perceptions.
Yes.
That, oh, you should be thinking a certain way because I think a certain way because blah blah blah, having all these backups to their kind of words, right?
Yeah, so they're very controlling.
Interesting. Why do you think people would act like this way, would act a certain way? Like, what is their motive behind this? Because I think it's not coming from a place that is just like stupidity or like it has to come from a source, right? And I think we should touch on kind of like what could lead to people doing these actions.
Yeah. Hey, for one, they definitely are not stupid. One who can
It takes a
manipulate.
lot.
Yeah, being able to control someone else.
Yeah. I mean, I just wish they divert the energy into something more meaningful, but
who knows? They might be actually doing a lot of stuff. But I would say, or more so, some research would suggest that these people might have gone through some personal trauma in their childhood.
We talked about that too today.
Yeah, I think there's some truth in it.
I do think like childhood kind of like how your upbringing was when you were young really does
affect you
deeply. Like your actions now and your
deeply
personality is like really deeply rooted in your in the way you perceive things now. You don't think so, but then the more you think back and you find linkage and you find the connection to it.
Subconsciously, you're always affected by how you were brought up. I mean, not 10 out of 10, but like at least 8 out of 10 of those like serial killer out there, don't they always like gone through a
personal traumas and like childhood?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, another really just obvious aspect of why people are toxic is because people are just selfish in general, right?
Yeah.
It's think about it. It's easier to put yourself first than put yourself in someone else's shoes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because it actually takes more effort to be more caring, to be more understanding, and then you think as like, oh, there's actually no return on investment. Like it's very hard to see a definite result when you help someone or when you put yourself in other people's shoes, right?
Yeah.
It's way easier to be selfish because the self-gratification is so clear.
True.
But that's the whole selfish act to it, right? It's like, just so. You can never be a bigger person. And I honestly think these toxic people are they're not really happy with themselves. They're also, I think we kind of talked about it last week, last episode. It's like they're putting a mask to not only convince other people, but to convince themselves that, oh, I'm having a good life. This is a good life. And you fake it. But yeah, then again, I think there's just so many dynamics to this type of people.
I think so. I mean, I would say, well, because one way of them affecting others is through their negative emotions or words. So these people are fundamentally negative. So, well, definitely not in their happy place. Yeah. But hey, that kind of triggers me to think about empathy. I think we should do a topic on empathy.
I think so too.
Like, this empathy is such a thing where, again, it ties with our theme, which is we always talk about stuff that are like so commonly heard about but not actually talked about. Like,
it's depth. not in depth in conversations. It might throw through your head one ear out, 1 year in, 1 year out. But I actually do enjoy these talks, and I hope people enjoy it too, is that we kind of bring a broader conversation, bring a broader topic, and then we try to narrow it down with like different elements, like oh, these are the types, these are the no's, these are the goods, our experiences, what are the takeaways. We try to bring everything to make it more in depth, right, and more purposeful.
I mean, we're no lecturers in here. We're just kind of Googling here and there and just like sharing our own viewpoints,
of course, and learning together.
Exactly.
I think that's the
just
whole
want to
point.
discuss it together. What were we talking about?
Everything.
Okay, sorry. The reason for people being so toxic, right? So I think toxic relationship if I really have to point out a few features of it, traits, features, yeah. First thing, you're definitely feeling drained in that relationship. And when I say drained, I really mean like not like, imagine you got scolded, you got told off by your superior at work.
Yeah.
Imagine you have the most annoying client who like bugs you the whole day on the same fucking small
task
matter for the whole day.
Yeah.
That kind of mentally drained feeling. Yeah.
I think for me, the most kind of outstanding element that I could think of when I think of a toxic person that ever came across to my life, or someone that I envision, is like, you're walking on eggshells, right? You're not yourself. You're very uncomfortable. You're very scared to say what you truly believe in, because you know the answer is going to be no. You know the answer is going to be something that is negative, something that is criticized. So you just don't kind of say it, and you try to...
You're afraid of the rejection.
You're afraid of the constant rejection, because you already know the answer, right?
Yeah.
But then again, I think these type of people will make you understand and differentiate, and hopefully in the long term, like, these are the people that are not right for me, right? These are the people that are not on the same wavelength for me. How do I differentiate these people from the people that are good for me? Because it's the pick and choose thing, right? You meet so many people in your life. There's never going to be all these perfect people that are coming to you. There has to be some bad eggs thrown into your basket, right? And then you kind of have to pick on it, right? Like, it's not, you feel kind of off. Yeah.
You just don't feel like that. You don't feel like you.
Yeah. But like, this is the contradicting part. Sorry, I'm getting off tangent. You don't feel like you, but then those people get you some kind of way, and then you confuse yourself by like, like, I just feel different around them, or like they're very unique to be around with. I don't know, like stuff like twisted minds like that, right? Yeah. And I'm sure that crosses
deja vu.
Yeah, super deja vu. Because those are the words that came across me. I'm like,
fuckboy alert.
But it's like, now that we're older, we can decipher, and we no longer have time for those people to play with their games, right? And it's like, I think it's because the energy level is we're so constrained with time now and effort, right?
I think so.
We're able
time is literally, actually, is the one thing, the first thing that helped me to eliminate, or at least like
agree.
take out some of these people in my life, because I actually don't have that much time.
Exactly. And you want to focus on the top priority stuff in your life, right? You're the best people in your life, the best activities in your life, the career that you're trying to mold, the family that you're trying to mold. Like, everything has a purpose anymore. But before, when we're with these toxic people, there's actually no goal or aim towards those people. It's just like, they bring drama to my life, It's more like that.
Oh my god, yes, these people are so dramatic. Like, everything about them is a drama. They can like easily go to a grocery store and then like some random like beans just like fall off from the aisle, and that causes a drama.
That's so dramatic. I get it.
Imagine the worst dramatic situation that could happen to these people, but they really are like that. And somehow, because they're so broken in a sense, you want to fix them, you want to help them.
And I think they're inside, I'm trying to understand them. I think they're very lonely, aka all the drama that is caused is, or that made, is their creation of attention, right? And this is the only way they can create like free attention, whether it's bad or good. Mostly it's bad, right? And for them, that's how they feel validated, right? They're trying to make noise everywhere. I mean, that's kind of sad, but they have some issues.
They definitely have some issues. But doesn't it say something about like people who follow them? Don't they have issues too?
Yeah, people are lost as fuck. the blind leading the blind.
Yeah.
Literally the blind leading the blind, right?
Yeah. I mean, law of attraction again.
No, yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Damn.
So if you've already like any of our listeners, if you have actually like got through these relationships and got out of it, congrats.
Yeah.
You've turned into a better person. And hopefully your energy doesn't attract this
You Marie Kondoed your life.
Damn. No, you can't steal our trademark.
That's true, sorry.
You
Hashtag Marie Kondo.
you hyper peached your life.
You peached up your life.
Alright.
Okay, alright. But going back, so we talked about a little bit about how do we identify these type of people, right? These toxic relationships. What are some types of toxic people? Like, there has to be different types, right? What are some that you think that are like, you're A, you're B, like different classes, different?
I would, one, controller. I think that's one that we have been we've talked about.
Yeah.
So basically the person who is trying to control every single move of yours, and you know, they always have something to say. They're always judging, like whatever you do, they have something to say about, and they can be very manipulative. I think these kind of people are called a controller.
They're trying to twist and control your thoughts.
Exactly. And the second one, I think they're not exactly controlling, but they could be very like sarcastic.
Explain.
If they would try to belittle you, they would try to mock the stuff that you do. They're also judging, but they're not really trying to give you a solution, to direct you to do certain things. They're just there to make you feel bad about the decisions that you've made, to make you feel small.
That's so manipulative, because you said sarcastic belittlers, right?
Yeah.
Belittle is like a very direct way of chunlei, of putting you down.
Yeah.
But sarcastic is the mode on top that is like kind of...
But sarcastic is also like mocking you, isn't it?
Mocking you, but in like a very...
I get what you...
You know what I mean, right? Not in the direct
like a
way.
more...
Indirect. In a more funny way, or in a more like joking-y, mocking way, you know?
Yeah.
Because direct belittle is like very bad, but sarcastic is like it takes someone to really realize it and be like, oh shit,
that's why
they're
they're toxic. Like they belittle you in a very indirect way that you might notice it, but takes a while.
See, so 90% of the time they get away with it.
Yeah. And then it gets to the point where even you stop believing in yourself.
Yeah. And you're like, oh yeah, what they say is actually true.
Yeah.
Blah, blah.
Like, maybe I'm not fat, but you keep saying that I'm fat.
Then maybe I'm fat.
Yeah, maybe I'm fat.
Do you think I'm fat?
What? How come you don't think that I'm fat today?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but actually, controller and sarcastic belittler, they always come hand in hand.
Yeah, I
say.
agree.
Yeah. So, do you think there's any other, types of?
I would say the one that I could pinpoint is probably a downer. Why? Because the negative kind of feedback always feels very important, feels very weighed down, feels like you have to acknowledge this, right? Because it's like sometimes when you see, oh, why is this person so happy? Like it almost, it's like like what, can you be more genuine about your feelings, or I don't know, like stuff like that. So a downer feels like, oh, you want to validate their you want to put more effort, you want to put more time to kind of how should I say, take care of them, prioritize them. But that's also leading to, I feel like, a downer.
You want to help them?
Yeah, you want to help them. And I feel like a downer sometimes is also a little bit, because if you know that person's an obvious downer, that means they're kind of attention seeking in my mind. Because they want people to feel bad for them and be like, oh, are you okay? And like everything surrounds them, right? You're gonna start to like make more time for them. You're gonna start to prioritize them, ask them questions. And just like in general, the world revolves. I'm not saying you can't be a downer, but if you're constantly a downer, that is an issue, right? Because
it drags you down.
It drags the people surround you down, right?
Yeah, I think
and that's in a sense also comes hand in hand with the controller.
Yeah. You're basically being a trash bin, you know. Whatever that person is trying to throw in, whatever negative energy that person is trying to throw into the bin, you are there to receive it.
Yeah. I want to touch on, before we move on, that one of our mutual friends that we went surfing last weekend, he said, what did he say? He said,
oh, the selfish thing. Yeah. Shout out to Alex, Jackie.
It's really true, right? When you come down to it, it's like, oh, sometimes people try to convince you that, oh, this thing is right, you should do this, you should be this way, right? But then
what is the famous line in sorry, I was just thinking, this is like Singaporean movie.
Really?
小孩不笨.
Oh.
There's this mother who's always like, whatever she does for her kid, she always has that line. She's like, it's all for your own good, something like that. I mean, probably the wrong line, the wrong accent.
Yeah.
You get the gist of it.
Then that would be our real verdict for this week.
Oops. Okay.
No, I agree. What was I trying to say? So basically, for your own good, when you think deep, most of the time it's a reverse beneficial to the messenger.
The messenger, okay. The speaker, okay,
yeah.
whatever it is.
Let's be real, because it's like, first of all, if you don't care about it, it's not gonna cross your mind.
Yep.
Therefore, you're not gonna even actually try to say it.
Yep.
But when you do say it, that means it has been on your mind. That means you care about it a lot. That means you want it to happen. You want it. And so, I mean, it's when he said that, I was like, oh, that's so true. Like, I never really thought about that, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't apply to everything, for sure. But when there's something that the speaker has a conflict of interest in, then you really should, you know, step aside, think about it.
Yeah.
Is he really saying that out of good intention?
Yeah.
Or good intention mixed with maybe a majority of intention for self? Because it always happens that way.
Yeah.
And so, of course, it depends on who said it to you. If it's a friend, then maybe you can give a little more trust. If it's a coworker, well, don't really trust your coworker. Just saying. Yeah.
So you're saying that they're really not that easy to identify?
They are not, actually, because, well, stealing that line again. Now that I think about it, it might not be from that movie, but I'm sorry. It's a Singaporean. It's definitely coming from a Singaporean mother. That's all I remember. But yeah, some people, when they do stuff like that, you know, playing that toxicity in your life, they would always confuse you with their intention of doing that. Like, you might think that, say, if it's coming from a parent, you might think that, oh, of course my parent is, you know, thinking in my best interest. They're just being upfront and just, you know, thinking in the most, giving me the most practical solution.
Yeah, for sure.
If it's coming from your boyfriend, then it could be, well, you know, it's just thinking for our future.
Yeah.
For our relationship in general.
You know, now that I think about it, like, I think it's okay to be selfish, because it's perfect when it's, say, oh, you talked about those examples when your parents ask you to, you know, do something, or when your boyfriend convinces you something, or friends. If it's the best interest for the both of you, right? Then by all means, that's the perfect mesh.
Yeah.
But then when it comes into conflict of interest, when they tell you to do something, I mean, then again, it's coming from Joyce. It's a gut feeling, emotion side. When something takes in me, it's like, like, I'm not, whatever you just said, like, I'm not happy about it, or it doesn't trigger happiness.
Yeah.
I feel more confused, or I'm like, something is missing, right? I'm like on edge a little.
Yeah, walking on eggshells.
That's when I know I'm like, like that. Like, the gut feeling is telling me something that, like, oh, maybe there's something else. There's underlying feelings that I should establish. Sorry, am I getting off tangent?
Not really. No. I'm just thinking through whatever you said. But let me just ask you this. So, we talked about being the victim of a toxic relationship. do you think you've ever been the
victim, the
what do you call that?
I was gonna say murder. 犯罪. I don't know.
The defendant.
Yeah. So lawyered up now, huh? Let's just
the
say
bad person in the relationship.
Sure.
Yeah.
Have I ever been?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're applying the toxins to someone.
Yeah. Because why?
Why?
Let me tell you this.
I don't think you've gone through any personal trauma.
No, I definitely have. I think it's... Well, let's use a relationship example. I think that's a perfect example because I felt like that was where the toxicity first originated. Therefore, how it spiraled and kind of... I recycled it a little bit.
Wait, but do you think you did it intentionally
Yes.
or... Damn.
Because...
Joyce.
Yeah. I think it's more like... It's always this like... It's a mass where... Oh... I got hurt from this toxic person.
You need to reciprocate it?
Not reciprocate. I need to now defend myself and make sure I'm not the victim next. So that the automatic protection, the gear is, let me kind of resemble a little bit, not all, but let me try to like take some of those traits that felt like it worked effectively to manipulate this next person. Let me try to use those things to make sure that I'm not hurt the next time because I've been hurt. Why do I want to be hurt again, right?
But don't you believe in like a balance? Like you don't believe that there could be a balance in a relationship?
What kind of balance? You mean like not be manipulative but still own up to yourself kind of thing?
Yeah. You don't have to be controlling, but you believe that that person would actually respect you.
Yeah, I totally agree. But that was like I wasn't mature enough to understand that or to want to do that. Okay. I think it's because I was still a little
It's easier this way.
Exactly.
See, that's why.
It's easier.
That's how we understood those people. That's why they did it.
Because think about it, like it doesn't take that much effort. You don't actually have to think about it. There's no much effort. There's not much emotion to it. You're just like,
That's true. Basically, it's like there's no empathy included. So all you're doing is just based on what you really want to do.
Yeah, because you're protecting yourself, which is kind of selfish, and also you don't gain anything from it. But anyways, yeah, that's a really good question. Do you think so? Do you think you've ever been that person in any way? And even like a slightest, it could be a one-time thing. It could be like a very small incident that you were like, I felt like I was...
Not much, seriously.
Wow, you're such an angel.
No, Angel is Angel. Erica is Erica.
I mean, Angel Chow is a fantastic woman. I'm talking about like the angel with the halo. I
mean, I actually can't think of an.
Wow.
I'm a pushover. I'm always the one that's being manipulated or like. Yeah. My only solution is to walk away from it. And then, I guess, a little too kind for
Well, we're gonna talk like more about like, how do we kind of own up to it, right? And walk away and takeaways. So,
I mean, I was talking about my experience of being a pushover. I think that had come from work, relationship, even family a little.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I mean, this is quite a niche like topic, like how, because normally you don't relate toxicity and family. You don't, that's not your automatic link. Because when people think about they look at our topic toxicity, they think about relationship blah.
I mean, family is like, obviously that does not exist in every family.
For sure.
And even in my own family, I think it's just maybe some occasions, not all.
I think that's normal.
Yeah. But when I said toxic, it's in a sense where there are certain values where you just fundamentally do not agree with, do not align, do not want to inherit.
Yeah.
But was afraid of touching on it, afraid of not following it, and just the thought of it kind of drained you know, and it gives you a lot of negative emotions. And
because this is a tough situation because your parents are your so-called elderlies, kind of like they're they're the people who are supposed to be more wisdom, the more knowledgeable in life, right? And that leads to someone who you should be listening to. You should respect all their thoughts and values, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is, I want to steal what you said before. We kind of talked about it very briefly. You said, oh, one of your friends told you that, you know, our parents are their first time being parents. And so their values and their how they perceive life is roots from how their parents taught them, how their growing up process was, how society was back then to how society was now is so different, right? And they used that to imply to what they think is right. And I think that's fine, because that's probably how we're going to teach our future kids too. It's able to stand our ground and believe in our values. I agree. But it's also up to us as we grow older as adults to know that, to differentiate that, like, oh, these are the values that I align with and I respect with. Some values you don't align with, but I don't think it, because family will always be family. It's like Ohana means family. But it's I think how to kind of approach this situation with family is a little bit tricky, is because you always want to keep a really good relationship with them because they give life to you. So I think the respect will always need to be there, and just kind of acknowledge that I am my own human, and I have my own set of rules that I believe in, and I'm surrounded with people that are different from your society back then, right?
Exactly. I mean, everyone is like a separate human being.
For sure.
And you should know that, you know, it's not a sign of
disrespect or
you know, it's still, you're still showing your, what do you call that, filial piety, even when you're not doing exactly what your parents tell you to, or, you know, adopting their thinkings. I think especially we talked about in like Asian households, like it's more traditional, right, than probably in the States and European countries, where we're supposed to be told to keep the traditions, to obey our elderlies, to pay back our respect, to take care of them. Like, I do believe some of those values are very important, but also I think there comes with flexibility to life, right? I think so. You have your own thinking, so sometimes you just gotta stand your ground. Say,
I agree.
You know, if someone there's some job that you want to chase, go after it. If there's some other life, if you want to live somewhere else, I don't know, if there's some guy that you really like, maybe you should do what's right for you after all.
Toxic. I want to talk about besides, we kind of pretty much talked about what we want to say about like families, right? Let's move on to like kind of like a work culture, like a work dynamic, right? How there's people there's like people that you're not close with, so-called coworkers, right? What are some, how do you identify and see these people? Like, what are some things that they do that your coworkers, I'm not saying directly you, but in general, like, what are some things that you think, oh, coworkers out there do that make you feel like, oh, this person's quite toxic at work? Like, what are some actions?
Well, I would say manipulation, that's for one.
For sure.
Yeah. And the judging part, they're basically just, they always have something to say. Whatever you do, they have some comments. Be it good or bad.
Why is toxicity created at a workspace is, I think, that kind of pressure to one up each other, that pressure to get more raise, to have that name that hierarchy, right? Oh,
Yeah.
you're just a newbie. Oh, you're just an intern. Oh, I'm a manager. Like,
Yeah.
it's unavoidable. It's there. Therefore, that comes with that toxicity, right? And it's like, it's not. I don't think everybody is that way. Some people
Yeah,
are
of
like,
course not.
oh, you're my coworker. You're my teammate. Then I'll treat you the definition of teammate. I'll treat you as it is.
Mm-hmm.
But people want that power dynamic and be like, oh, I want to feel like I want to be seen by my manager, by the boss, that I'm actually doing more work than you, or actually I'm more valid to stay in this company than you, right?
Yeah.
So I have to put on a show.
Yeah. I mean, these people, I think they essentially are not really looking for friends. They're not looking for like mutual respect or whatever.
I mean, that's all BS that they say surface level.
Yeah, they just want someone to be their followers, to agree on whatever they say.
For sure. To make their lives easier so they do less stuff on their task.
Exactly. And I think it's some of them often come from like more senior employees, senior staff. They have worked for so long, they've always been this way, to the point where it's just in their subconscious. Like, they're not even aware that they're doing it, treating their coworkers that way, which is really bad.
They're using their time there as an advantage.
Yeah, they're just they feel more entitled just because, well, they've worked there longer.
Exactly. I don't think, I mean, wherever we're gonna be in our careers in 10 or 20 years, you know, I hope if we're gonna be like managerial level, or if we're gonna be like working for ourselves, whatever it is, like whatever career path we choose to take, I hope that we
treating
don't
everyone like your first day. Is
exactly.
that what you said?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think hopefully we're gonna be more experienced with whatever we do. That comes with confidence, right? But never trickle down to that confidence. Never change that confidence into a toxic person. Yeah, stay humble. And I think you always can learn from anyone, whether they're young or old, right?
Yeah, that's definitely true.
You can definitely learn from an intern and gain perspective from them, rather than just belittling them.
Yeah. It takes a lot for a person to
be humble
and actually do what they say, because, you know, people get insecure, and people also sometimes the more experience they gain, they just forget about their chosen. They forget why they started and how they started. Yeah. So
I mean, it's the status that kind of, it's the shining armor, it's the shining award that they have, right?
And again, it's easier that way. It's easier to be toxic.
It's always easier that way.
Yeah. So after all of this, we kind of need to also wrap it up a little.
Sure.
Well, we're just gonna briefly talk about how to remove the toxic relationships in life. I think because there are not a lot of, not briefly, but, you know, like, there are not a lot of steps that you have to go through. It's first, identify. I mean, second,
I think let's use the example of when you're watching Marie Kondo on Netflix, and then when you see, a mountain of like clothes that looks like a pyramid, right? Let's use that example. So step one, you see a pile of clothes, old, new, all mixed up, whatever occasion, right? You identify it by actually taking one by one, piece by piece out, removing the ones that are not happy, not serving purpose in your life, negative, toxicity, aka, you throw those, and then you see, and then you're like, this one,
I mean,
somewhat serves a purpose, right?
Exactly.
And you rework it.
Choose whether you want to remove it or rework it.
Agree.
Categorize it.
For sure.
And then third step, most important one,
establish boundaries.
Establish the boundaries. It's so hard, actually, because
why is it hard? I'm trying to think. Because it might be broken.
Well,
it's a promise.
It's hard when I put it into, when I'm describing, you know, picking out clothes with it. But
don't have to use clothes. We can move on to another example, or whatever.
I mean, if you're applying to a person, because the thing about toxic person, the power of them, is that they make you not want to stay away from them, because you're afraid of how they would react to the way you treat them. You know,
Mhm.
you're actually
Because the
intimidated by them.
Because their reaction is so loud.
Exactly.
Mm.
And these people, they always want to control you,
Yeah.
so they wouldn't want to stay away from you.
Yeah.
They wouldn't want to keep a distance from you.
Yeah.
And you have to be the one to actually tell them, hey, like say if a toxic person, like say, oh, your boyfriend,
Yeah.
you broke up with him.
Yeah.
He's a very toxic person. He came back to you.
Yeah.
He like, one of the reasons why you think he's toxic is because he keep dragging you down on using his like, you know, life stories, like tell you that, oh, he has like work issues, or he has like mental issues.
Okay.
You're helping him on that,
Okay.
but then because he's so toxic, you decided that you can't deal with it anymore, and then you break it off.
Okay.
And he keep coming back to you,
Okay.
and then he keep like telling you his issues. Where like, you're the only one that he could talk to.
Oh, okay.
Like
He's like relying on
he
you.
needs
He
you.
needs
Like,
you.
can't do without you. Damn, that's one line that everyone, not everyone, I mean all the toxic people love saying. I can't do without you. And so you
AKA stay strong.
yeah, you have to stay strong. If you don't stay strong, then you know no one can help you.
Yeah, I think staying strong is it sounds very easy to do again, but it's like, oh, what are the steps to stay strong? Like, but I think ultimately is really have a set of values that you believe in, that you are clear, that you know, so then you won't get easily swayed, right? But because when we were so young, we didn't know what our values were. We don't know who we were, what we liked, what we don't like, what our beliefs were. So therefore, we were so easily swayed by that one line that they said, right? But now that, I guess, people get more mature with life experiences and meet more people in their life, you are able to stay strong and be like, oh, okay, like,
Acknowledge that.
I acknowledge a thank you, but no kind of thing.
Thank you for their service and let them go.
Exactly.
Ooh, that goes back to Marie Kondo.
Exactly. And I think continuing, it's like resist to trying to fix things, right? Yeah. It's kind of like that breakup phrase where you're like, don't try to fix something when it's already broken kind of thing. But like if it's of course not broken, if it's still pretty well made.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Yes. But if it's broken, also don't fix it.
Yeah. Because there has to be a reason that it's breaking apart, right? And sometimes it's easier to kind of start fresh, whatever it is, make a new friend, start a new career, get a new boyfriend. I don't know. Like, just like, you don't limit yourself and be so fixated on one thing, one aspect, one person in your life, because come on, like, we all know that there's always choices in your life, right? I'm not saying
always choices
exactly
in your life.
I'm saying like, don't get distracted, of course, by these other things, aspects, but always know that there's always a way out. There's always a route A, route B, route C, route D. There's always options. When you feel like you don't have. Right?
Yeah, things we didn't know when we were kids.
Seriously,
yeah,
damn.
there are always choices.
And then ditch the blame. Like, toxic people always make you feel like you're the one to blame, right? But I think maybe when you think outside of the box and you look at the situation from an outsider perspective, it's like the blaming game never ends. And how do you kind of put aside the negative feelings, right? And be like, who's actually really projecting this? Like, why are you projecting it? And kind of like just say no to that, right?
Yeah. You have to really unveil the curtains and then look at it and see who is actually at fault in here.
For sure. And lastly, I like this.
Find your tribe.
Find your tribe. When I think of tribe, it's like, who?
Yes, that's exactly what we do all the time. That's why we're each other's tribe. Yeah.
I mean, this is so easy. I mean, not easy. It's kind of self-explanatory, but don't forget to surround yourself with people who lift you up.
Yeah.
They might not always be the most dramatic one. They might not always be the most fun one. But if they're the people that value your feelings, that never manipulate you, respect you just the way you are, appreciate you, love you, and you can feel the support without them kind of nagging you too much.
Yeah.
I think,
those are your people.
hoo-has.
Your hoo-has. Yeah, I mean, this whole concept's a little relative. Like, you wouldn't know who is really your hoo-ha until you, like, walked away from the poopa. I was waiting for that line, but you really wouldn't know. You wouldn't know until you found the right one.
Yeah.
Like, for me, coming from experience.
It really is. It really does. And hopefully, I think, I feel like the past few going like kind of on a bigger picture, like the past few conversations or topics episodes that we try to talk about, sounds very generic, sounds very like, oh, I know this, people would see it as like, oh, sounds very like casual, something that I've probably seen or heard of, but hopefully, like, the way we kind of dive down with how our rundown has been going, hopefully you guys have some kind of takeaways. It could be like the first second that we said something, or like it could be something that we just said, or in the middle of it, that you found that, oh, it was interesting or very resonated with you. And hopefully you continue to support us too. I sound so all those K-pop when they're in music videos?
Really?
Yeah. After they sing a song, or after they like won an award or something, please continue to support us in Korean, right? It's like, please continue to love us.
I thought you were gonna
no.
switch to Korean.
No, I'm just saying, like,
no, you're repeating it in English.
There's the subtitles that I always read, right?
Yeah.
They're like, please support us, 주세요, right? And then I'm just like,
주세요.
we should try that.
大家多多支持啊.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's it. So yeah, thank you guys for listening, and we hope your day is as peachy as this episode. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Like and rate this podcast on Spotify and iTunes.
Comment or DM us on any of our social media platforms as well. Talk to you in the next one.
Bye.